Welcome to the Gavel. I am Terry Ikumi. The National Assembly is expected to resume plenary on the 9th of February after postponing its initially scheduled resumption date of 26th January due to the membership registration and revalidation exercise of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, which commenced on Monday, January 25. Well, the committees have, however, commenced their out-chamber responsibilities such as public hearings, committee meetings, and oversight tours. Our first report is on the oversight tour of the House of Representatives Technical Committee on Customs to Northern Customs Formations. The Technical Committee on Customs of the House of Representatives commences a tour of Northern Customs Formations. The committee meets with controllers from Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, Kwara, Kogi, Niger, and Katsina commands at the zonal office. At the Kano Jigawa command, the committee is taking on an inspection tour of the terminals. Poor working environment, poor performance of terminal managers, as well as excess charges by shipping companies is observed by the lawmakers.
Will compel your management to meet us in Abuja.
Exactly.
They let me in Abuja with representative of the custom and the stakeholders.
Okay, sir.
Are you following me? There's some way you want to develop this place since it is not your own.
It's not their own now.
It's not your own. That's why you are not developing it.
No,
and you cannot, because of your own challenge, disturb the progress of the country.
All the other people.
Or the other people. So it's either you buckle up or we give way. So let us invite them.
But let them put them on notice. Yes. Put your bosses on notice.
They are also worried about the attitude of management of the Nigeria Customs Service towards seized items.
We are not happy with the level of decay the item have been subjected to. You can see for yourself. Some of these rice are expired rice. Some have not expired when they seize them. They're supposed to have given them or auctioned them. Look at the vehicles of several million. Some vehicles worth 200 million. But if you want to sell them now, they can hardly worth 100,000. Just because they were not auctioned on time. So this is not a good thing for the service.
At the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, the committee was informed by stakeholders that the cargo section of the airport has been practically abandoned due to government policies.
Cargo flight that's coming to Kano Airport is only two flights, Ethiopia and Turkish Air. And Turkish Air is coming once in a week to Nako. And it's not regular. So we don't have any direct flight. And the problem we are facing in Kano is too terrible. Because we are Nigerians and they are treating us that out of Nigerians. The way the Kano airport is abandoned, I don't think that...
What do you think is responsible for this?
Policies, government policy.
The problem they have is not peculiar to Kano alone, but certainly series of problems have been enumerated by the customs area controller. And like I said, there are a lot of things that we have observed ourselves. We are going to take it up with the customs echelon, customs headquarters, and also to the House of Representatives at the appropriate time.
The tour ends in the Federal Capital Territory. There, the committee observed a shortage of junior officers, which it says is threatening to cripple activities of the service.
The same thing that continues to resonate is the issue of shortage of junior officers. Even in some areas, they don't even have at all. And then we are now disturbed because we understood there is 17-year gap in recruitment. Why is it that custom is not doing massive recruitment? Why? We have given them all the assistance needed. They are using 60% of CISS to augment their salary. The 7% collection of duty is for them. We are not happy with this, and I think the instrumentality of the National Assembly is budgeting. We will use the instrument of budget to change this narrative, to ensure that recruitment is massive.
And with reports of secret recruitments being carried out, the committee says it intends to summon the Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali.
In the couple of weeks or couple of days, we are going to invite the Controller General of Customs to come to the committee, to come and answer all these questions, because we are disturbed. And then before we pass the budget, we make sure the recruitment is done. We keep the budget aside. Let the recruitment come first, so that all these questions will not be there. Because we are only giving chances to smugglers and giving chances to people to do whatever. Because when the officers are not on ground, so anybody can do whatever he likes.
Our next report looks at the oversight visit of the House of Representatives Committee on Youth Development to the NYSC camp in Kefi, Nasarawa State. The House of Representatives Committee on Youth Development continues its oversight visit to NYSC camps across the country.
Salute.
Within the week, it was the turn of the Kefi camp in Nasarawa State. After inspecting the hand-washing and sanitization facilities, as well as the hostels, the committee was impressed with the level of compliance with the COVID-19 protocols.
When we went into the dormitories, to the hostels, we find out that the social distancing is seriously kept, seriously adhered to. And then anywhere you get to, right away from the gate, you are tested, then you have to do the hand washing, then you have to do the sanitizing, then even going around within the camp itself. So you can see that COVID-19 protocols are being adhered to, so there's no cause for alarm. And visiting the corps members at their side spots.
The committee also applauded the skills acquisition section of the camp, which it considers very necessary to tackle the high rate of unemployment in the country.
We were very, very impressed because the shoe-making people, the clothes-making people, the cosmetic-making people, even to the kitchen, so everybody is busy and then they are doing very well. And the very remarkable thing is that most of the instructors that are coming out around in the camps now that are instructing or mentoring our corps members are the ones that had already been mentored here before, or in the various camps in Nigeria. So they are the people that have now graduated to become great entrepreneurs who are now being recruited again by the scheme to come and mentor and monitor and lecture and teach the current corps members. So we are very delighted.
Well, the 9th National Assembly, particularly the House of Representatives, is made up of predominantly first-timers. Here's a conversation with one of them, Dachung Bagos, representing Jos South and East constituency of Plateau State, on his experience so far on lawmaking, representation, and National Assembly politics.
Now, I will speak from 2 points of view. Number one, someone coming from an opposition party, and secondly, someone coming with a very high expectation, and not only high expectation, with high demand from my people. I got into the National Assembly with about 117,000 votes difference. So meaning that 117,000 people that voted me into office have expectation. So when you look at that, you should be able to analyze and know that there's very high expectation. And having a constituency that is cosmopolitan and the state capital, people invariably expect you what the executive can give them and what the governor or whosoever is in the executive position couldn't give them. They expect you to solve that problem immediately. I've had issues where people come to me with the issue of road construction, with the issue of rural electrification, issue of transformer, with the issue of health, a lot of issues, water, and so on and so forth. But I can assure you, as a lawmaker, demands that we get from people, 95%, or if I'm not saying 99%, has nothing to do with lawmaking. 99% are executive roles. So these are issues that we have been trying to see how one can be able to balance between lawmaking and reaching out to people in terms of constituency outreach. Because in terms of constituency outreach, the demand is even more higher than the lawmaking. And it happens that among the new members, I have the highest number of bills, but that's not what my people will celebrate me about. My people will more celebrate me about how many projects I've been able to attract the community. But looking at it, as a lawmaker, it's so saddening, because if the laws that we have been able to put in place, that's this law we are putting in place, the motions that we are trying to put in, that have been passed, that look, this motion and these laws are what will be able to give, to make the executive give people good roads, make the executive give people hospitals, water, and so on and so forth. And if that is not coming as a result of the laws we are making, that's where our role of oversight comes into play. We oversight the executive. But still, people don't want to understand the aspect of lawmaking and oversight. They want to see you doing roads, like I said, and giving them employment. The rate at which we have the unemployed youths within our constituencies, if you see the CVs of people that we have, is amazing, as if we are the Civil Service Commission or any of those commissions giving employment. So the narratives need to change. And to me, for the narratives to change, a lot of effective oversight need to be done by the National Assembly.
Now, it's very interesting, because what you're saying gives credence to a report by the National Institute of Legislative Studies, which did a survey on asking Nigerians the expectations of a National Assembly. And the survey showed that the expectations for the National Assembly were more based on things like infrastructure, demanding for better infrastructure, roads, schools, and even job employment, and not really about the core roles of a National Assembly, that's oversight, lawmaking, and representation. Unfortunately,
with the Nigerian system of governance, which has to do with you have to know someone before you get something. You have to bring note from a senator or a House of Reps member before you get employment or before you get a contract. You see, that narratives have really changed the entire system, have really changed the entire issue. And that's why one of the areas that someone like me have been talking about restructuring, have been talking about reforming our system of governance. Because if we don't look at appropriate and adequate restructuring, the person at the grassroots will not be able to get anything till maybe his uncle or his cousin knows someone in high authority. But if we have a system that works naturally, once you are qualified, you'll be taken out of merit. And I always ask the elders that, look, in the early 60s, in the early 70s, once you finish school, they already know that this is the most, this is the brilliant student, or this is the top 10 that came out with the best results. Already employment is waiting, you have job opportunity, you have a house and a car, an official car attached to you. I know someone that said when he finished school, he had like 2 to 3 job opportunities, one with the state government, one with federal government, and one with a company. So you have to choose which one to go into. You now choose the one that is pensionable for him. But what happened? Can we still achieve that kind of system of governance? Yes, we can achieve that if we look at how we can restructure a lot of things in this country. We cannot be able to address the issue of unemployment without industrialization. It's not possible. With the number of youths we have, I don't see if the federal government or any state government opening job opportunities to be able to accommodate the number of youths that come out of NYSC every year.
Welcome back to the Gavel. Let's return to the conversation with Representative Dachung Bagos on his experience so far on lawmaking, representation, and National Assembly politics as a first-timer in the House of Representatives.
So I'm going to take you back to the first question I asked about your expectations. You told us the expectations your constituents have about you. Now, what did you expect coming into the National Assembly? What did you expect to see? What kind of things did you expect to do that you were going to do when you come into the National Assembly?
The expectation of everybody, even a normal and human, every Nigerian from outside, seeing the National Assembly, looking at it as if that's where you'll be able to solve your problem. But when I came in here, let me tell you some things. Most of the things that people accuse the National Assembly members outside, I came and saw that the narratives are different. People are saying that National Assembly members receive bogus amount of money. We were among the people that were agitating open NAS. And when I came, I said, where's the money? That people are agitating and are calling on the National Assembly members. And when I discovered that out of the 128 billion or thereabout that is under National Assembly, I discovered that the management of the National Assembly, that is bureaucracy in running the National Assembly, takes almost half of that. And I know how a lot of members have to go and borrow or take loan to be able to live a certain standard. That as a National Assembly member, you must stay in a very big house. You must drive in convoy of cars. You must have a lot of security around you to protect you because of the negative narrative that people have already put on members that they have money. So already living a fake life, let me use that word, of a standard that is not truly the standard that is in the National Assembly. It's what is still causing the problem. When we go home, you see hundreds of people in our houses, and members will say, well, for them to be able to get the next position, they go out of their way to be able to meet the demands of the people. So you see, these are issues that the narratives need to change entirely. I was in the US Congress sometime last year or so. From the office of the congressman we met, I did not see one single constituent. What they are so busy doing are going through letters from their constituents, asking of issues of their right within their constituency, issue of this welfare, issue of health, and so on and so forth, health insurance, how they can access health insurance, how they can get this and that and that. And the congressman busy replying them, and you see where union leaders from different within the constituency coming to advocate for this and that in the law. And when I was in the chamber, you see the constituents in the chamber at the gallery, some in this color, red color, and the others in the blue color, trying to push in support, advocating support for a bill. But I've never seen, in our own here, I've never seen either the civil society or our constituents interested in a bill and are they at the gallery to see if they to put support to whosoever is pushing that bill so that the bill will pass. The only bill that I saw in Nigeria that really had serious rallying point was the Not Too Young to Run bill.
But then people have observed that the National Assembly has made itself inaccessible to Nigerians. Lawmakers are not as accessible to their constituents as we would expect. Lawmakers are supposed to have, regular town hall meetings, constituency engagements. We don't see that. And then the National Assembly has still not been able to put an effective process where Nigerians can monitor the activities of their lawmakers, track bills, track attendance, track their lawmakers in terms of what they're doing in oversight.
Well, one thing I know with the 9th Assembly in trying to get constituents to understand activities of the National Assembly, it's one of the cardinal objectives of our own the 9th agenda, legislative agenda, is have to do with e-parliament. And in this e-parliament today, whether on Facebook, on Twitter, on all the social media platforms, you can follow live proceedings. And not only that, different committees meetings, you can follow them up. And that I know. And the website of the National Assembly members, you'll be able to see all the members that are there, and so on and so forth. So a lot of e-parliament is being undertaking this. Again, the issue there that I know is that how many people can access the social media down to the grassroots. So that's for us to be able to breach the gap. Those that can access social media, the people in the rural areas cannot truly access social media, though some can, but some just wait for information that is being given. And that is where the outreach, and it's very key, because every lawmaker is expected to have constituency office. Every lawmaker is supposed to, at least once in a while, carry out town hall meetings. But who are the people oversighting the National Assembly members? We oversight the executive, but who is oversighting the National Assembly members? Our constituents, civil society, have they been able to put up to that responsibility? What capacity do our civil society have? Because if you are expecting and waiting for a civil society that is still funded again by someone that will dictate the tune of what you are doing, then there's a problem.
You are an opposition lawmaker. What has been your experience, in the last 2 years as an opposition lawmaker in the House of Representatives?
I would say the experience is challenging and interesting. As a result, especially when we came in, there was this tussle for minority leadership and so on and so forth. That has passed. Now we have even the PDP caucus, which is still part of the minority leadership or an outshoot of the minority leadership. So having to put your issues from either ways, it's quite challenging that you have to lobby. From the PDP caucus, you push to the House, or the minority caucus as well. The minority caucus that is being recognized officially by the House. So, but then every party has its own, every opposition party, or every party has its own right to have its own caucus. So being part of all this, it's quite challenging that you have to lobby for some of your issues, be it motion, be it so on and so forth. But one interesting thing with the House that I know is that, number one, we don't talk about party on the floor of the House. And that's why the slogan and the motto of the House is joint tax towards nation building. But on the floor, in the House, you hardly hear us talk about party, and most of us move and live as a family. But there are issues that, as an opposition, as opposition member, your voice will not be heard. Your voice can be, you can shout on some certain issues, you can oppose some certain issues, whatsoever you want to do, hit the ground with, well, your opposition, what the majority agrees on is what have the day. So that's one of my major challenge as an opposition member.
The host communities of Nigeria producing oil and gas, HostCom, has apologized for the fight during the House of Representatives public hearing on the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB. Briefing journalists in Abuja, the president of HostCom, Benjamin Temaranabi, tendered the apology on behalf of the oil and gas producing communities to President Muhammadu Buhari and the National Assembly over the fight. The group, however, disagrees with the position of the federal government in the PIB, which proposes 2.5% share for HostCom in the bill being considered at the National Assembly. HostCom is insisting on 10% equity shareholding in oil companies as well as 10% of operational gains in the PIB. Well, that's the Gavel this week. Thanks for watching. Plenary resumes on the 9th of February. I am Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.